Welcome to NeuroField Basics. My name is Dr. Nicholas Douglas. I am the CEO and co-founder of NeuroField Incorporated. Today we're going to cover the use of the NeuroField database and NICS database. So I'm going to share my screen here, and let's just jump right in. When I first developed NeuroField 12 years ago, the first database we ever had was known as the NICS database. We have transferred some of the protocols in the NICS database into NeuroField 64. Not all of them, because not all of them really worked. But the ones that we did select to go into the database were ones that the users reported a lot of success with. You can gain access to the original NICS database by downloading and installing the original NeuroField 10 software, which is available still and still works using Windows 10. In my opinion, it still works. I don't think there's been any major issues. We'll see. So you click on the NICS database here, and it will load it, and you're going to see a whole bunch of different protocols. There's 15 of them in this actual database. And again, these are, I would say, 15 of the most effective. However, there's one that didn't get ported, and that would be the inflammation reduction protocol, which is still in NeuroField 10. That would be one of the most highly regarded protocols that people utilized in the system, and is still available in NeuroField 10. Now, you'll see these other protocols here. Depression symptom reduction. There are users that say that this is very good at reducing depression. Brain fog reduction is a really quick protocol, about 30 seconds long. Use it on the head, designed to reduce brain fog. Laxative over the belly, designed to be able to assist somebody in producing a movement, essentially. I designed it for an autistic child initially. Dental infection reduction. This one, along with bacterial infection reduction, have been designed to help to reduce infection, essentially. Now, it doesn't kill bacteria, but it does increase blood flow and bring oxygen into a region. The frequencies that I selected here are based on some Rife frequencies that have been shown to have a impact on bacteria. And I've never believed that that bacteria implodes, such as what I've read about Rife treatments. But I do believe that a bacteria can be immobilized, and that certain frequencies will actually disrupt cellular function in bacteria, and so in rendering them inert, essentially. So I believe that both of these protocols can do that, the dental infection reduction and the bacterial infection reduction. Adrenal support, right over the adrenals. Emotional calming, used on the head. There was many users that said this brings about almost immediate calming. Eyes problem support. This one actually contains frequencies that match the actual structural frequencies of the eye. So the whole idea here was based on molecular recruitment to shoot electrons and photons that match the actual frequency, molecular frequency of an organ. For the, if it matches it in a molecular way, then it can recruit them from air and actually, hopefully, regenerate itself. That was the initial idea behind it, based on molecular recruitment theory. So eye problem support contains frequencies that actually are part of the frequencies that put the eye together, essentially. And then you have anxiety symptom reduction, again, on the head. IBS over the belly. Kidney support. This is like the eye protocol. Kidney, liver, heart, all of these contain frequencies from those specific organs. Memory improvement over the temporal lobes. And then CNS support. This is for the head, but also for any type of nerve pain in the body. So the NeuroField database, or the NICS database, contains all of these, and you'll find more in NeuroField 10 if you're interested in looking at these. Again, these are all experimental. The initial protocols in the system, some of them were brought about some really miraculous responses out of people, and really impressed genuinely by what they could do. Unfortunately, they weren't consistent. And so in an effort to make the system more consistent, we went to more linear protocols. So we rewrote them all now, and you see NeuroField database here I just loaded. And here is where you get a whole bunch of protocols that are very linear. And we put in all the frequency ranges that you typically see in an EEG evaluation, at least up to 30 hertz here. And then we have these rocking protocols, which oscillate from one up and down, basically, whereas these protocols here, the HD, 1 to 4 HD, goes 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, all the way to 4, and then it stops, it shuts off. The HD means high definition. The 1 to 4 HD rocking protocol will do the very same thing, but when it gets to 4, it rocks back down. So it goes 3.9, 3.8, 3.7 until it gets back down to 1. The CSC protocol is a cross-frequency coupling, and it's synchronizing beta 2 from 15 to 19 hertz with gamma from 40 to 80 hertz. These protocols came about as a result of my discussions with Dirk de Ritter and other characters in the field that talked about cross-frequency coupling and the way that network systems actually talk to each other in the brain. The parasympathetic protocols are also linked to the Nogier protocols, and that's the way these have been written. The original parasympathetic here was written to match the parasympathetic frequencies that the heart creates, from 0.14 hertz to 0.4 hertz. It follows that entire range. So that is actually, this is a very calming protocol, typically used over the mastoids. Then you'll see that there's the parasympathetic protocol, that's actually written for the cranioelectric devices. And then the gastro-low B or tissues, gastro, locomotor, all the Nogiers are written for the EMF units. So you can actually run parasympathetic on the mastoids while giving the EMF through the coils in X3000 units through any of the Nogier protocols. Then you have Nogier, all frequencies low, all frequencies high. And then a number of cross-frequency coupling protocols. And then you'll see protocols where we've actually done rocking through each of the frequency bands, and we've paired them with TDCS. So the coils will actually be giving a frequency while the Z3 or Genesis units is actually doing DC. The same is done with random noise. Again, all the frequency bands through the EMF coils, and then the actual Z3 or Genesis units actually doing random noise. And you can see how we put all those together here. Then I did a number of what we call disruptor protocols. And this is a protocol here that's designed to give a pulsed 11 hertz sine wave with an intention of disrupting a aberrant low alpha, essentially. And so 11 and 12 hertz can be really good disruptors if they're really close to a dominant frequency. And when you pulse it that way, it can be disruptive and decoupling, essentially. So stuck systems that don't respond to other types of stimulation or neurofeedback treatment may start to respond if you give the disruptor for maybe 10 minutes and then move into another type of protocol. Then you have the pulsed alternating current stimulations that actually go through an entire frequency band. And again, these can be really effective. Then we have our Triad protocols. This is what we mean by Triad is we give DC, random noise, and then alternating current. In this Triad protocol, it oscillates from 1 to 4 hertz. So this is a delta triad, the next one's a theta triad, alpha triad, low beta, and then beta 2. Then we have the down rocks and the up rocks protocols. Again, these go through specific frequency bands, delta, This one, the 1 to 10 is going to cover your delta, alpha, and theta. And then you have your 15 to 12. This is going downward, and this one's going upwards with 19 to 15. So then you have triad protocols that are single bin protocols from 1 hertz all the way down to 20 hertz. These are, again, giving DC, random noise, and then alternating current at that specific frequency listed in the protocol. So this is a 2 hertz triad. These can be quite effective, actually, when you want to disrupt a specific frequency. You can watch it run here. You see how it does it. Oh, I didn't enable anything. Always have to make sure you enable everything. So I'll save it. There we go. And it sets it up. And then you can watch how the system actually disrupts. There's DC, there's random noise, and then there's a frequency. And that's how it actually ran. I didn't loop it, so I just did it one time. So you'd loop that a number of times. All right. Now after the single hertz protocols, then you get to the binaural protocols. These require 2 Z3s or 2 Genesis units to run. The binaural protocols what they do is they put together the Nogier cortex frequency. So I'm going to load this guy up. Nogier cortex frequency was 146 hertz. And the way to create a binaural beat is you take 2 frequencies that are different frequencies, and you determine the difference between the 2 frequencies, and that'll create a binaural beat, essentially. And back in the old days, when we did this with auditory frequencies, you would put 1 frequency in one ear, 1 in the other ear, and a different frequency in the other ear, and they would meet in the thalamus, and that's where you would start generating a beat, essentially. So in this protocol, this is an 11 hertz binaural. One of the Z3 units is going to do 146 hertz. The other is going to do 157 hertz. The coils will also do the same thing. Coils 1 and 3 will do 146. Coils 2 and 4 will do 157. The difference between 157 and 146 is 11 hertz. So you're going to be giving these cortex frequencies that Nogier said were really good for the brain, and then also generate an 11 hertz beat, essentially. You'll see that there is 11, 12, and then you'll see frequency ranges, delta, theta, alpha, beta 1, beta 2. And then we get a triad binaural that does DC, random noise, and 11 hertz triad. Then you'll see a binaural with all the solfeggio frequencies in the entire solfeggio scale. And then there's a binaural parasympathetic. Again, all using the same kind of high gamma above 100 hertz stimulations. Next, you'll see tinnitus protocol. This guy is to be used at T3, T4, T5, T6. And then also headphones with a analog volume control plugged into the front of the Z3, designed to help to reduce tinnitus that's produced from a traumatic brain injury, not from a viral infection. It has to be the type of tinnitus that is very, very high frequency, high pitch, and the person has to have a history of the tinnitus beginning after a traumatic brain injury. Then you get the beta and binaural beats gamma. This is actually one of my favorite protocols. This one creates a binaural of ranging between 13 and 15, a nice SMR type of binaural. Very, very effective, very, very good for sleep, very, very good for attention and concentration. There's a no stim protocol. We use that one when we want to do just regular neurofeedback. Then we have a microcurrent protocol for spinal pain reduction. This is used for 2 units. Both of the anodes are placed at the top of the neck around C2, C3, and then the cathodes are placed on the spine at the bottom of the spinal cord, right above the buttocks. And then you run both units at 0.5 milliamps for 90 minutes. For people that have legitimate spinal injuries, where they experience a kind of a spinal locking of the muscles around the peripheral nerves, this can help to reduce that significantly. ACC to PCC square wave protocols. Both of these are designed to help the anterior cingulate and posterior cingulate to switch essentially in their activation. So when one is activated, the other is less active. This is essentially designed to help people with pain and was designed for people at the FHE Health, which is where I'm the director of neuroscience, with people that are coming off of opioids or benzodiazepines or stimulants, and their pain network doesn't modulate itself correctly. Placements for these are typically at FZ and PZ, or FZ and PZ, and T3, T4, or T5, T6. Both work really well. And then we have a DC, and then this is another triad, but using pink noise instead of white noise. And it's a 13 hertz triad pink noise. And then we have another tinnitus protocol using just pink noise, and it's oscillating through 3 different frequency ranges of pink noise. And lastly, we have another set of CSC protocols. Both of these are looking at theta beta synchronization. And this one does theta and beta 1 and 2 synchronization. This one does sympathetic and parasympathetic delta theta with SMR synchronization. These are some of the newest ones that I've developed out of my ERP research. All right, those are protocols from 2 big databases. Have a great day, folks.